Good morning, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carlbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. As you know, we're with you each and every morning at 10:45 to make sure that you have the message, the action, the tool to be empowered in this moment ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Before we jump in today, a few events to highlight. I got to tell you, Democrats are busy around the state. It's really incredible to see all the events that you guys are standing up to make sure that people have a place to plug in. This late morning, you can join Pizza and Programs with the Beltrami County DFL in Bemidji at 11:30. A great way to connect over food and local organizing. This afternoon, there's Coffee and Conversation in Rochester at 3:30 p.m., followed by a rally for our rights in Apple Valley at 4 p.m. This evening, Duluth Delegate Night kicks off at 5 p.m., and Stearns United is hosting Pizza Planning and Conversation in Melrose at 5:30. You can also plug into organizing from anywhere with two virtual phone banks at 6 p.m. The City One Virtual Phone Bank and Party Building Phone Bank hosted out of Coon Rapids and Anoka. So plug into those virtual phone banks if you can. Then at 7 p.m., don't miss the DFL State Auditor Virtual Forum, a great opportunity to hear directly from our candidates wanting to be our next state auditor in Minnesota. This weekend, I plan to be at a lot of different conventions, 43, 42, 45, Carver County, and even more on Sunday. So excited to be out and about, visiting with folks and hearing from fired up Democrats ready to help do everything we can to deliver that massive electoral win this November. You can find more information on all these events at dfl.org/events. And as usual, put yours in the chat so that I can highlight them here on the DFL Daily each morning. Okay, so this week we've been building something important together. On Monday, we talked about why affordability is the message. It's what we've heard at the doors, in listening sessions, and at rallies across the state. On Tuesday, we went deeper into the facts, and we talked about the 55,000 touch points the DFL has had with Minnesotans over the last year and why we understand that the affordability issue and economy always rises to the top. Yesterday, we heard from Antonia Scatton. Antonia helped us understand what makes this messaging different and how to frame it in a way that actually moves people, connects with real people. Antonia writes on her Substack, Reframing America, about how the right-wing propagandists are the masters of association. Association is using two terms in the same sentence that builds a bridge between them in people's brains. They short-circuit our brains. So when people read headlines like Trump paints a picture of D.C. as crime-ridden hellhole, here are the facts. They remember Trump, D.C., crime-ridden hellhole. So as you comment online or repost articles, check first to make sure you're not helping to associate concepts that we do not want to be associated. When talking about DFLers, stop using the right wing's language, even if you're using it to fact check them. Same with associating Republicans with words they themselves use, even if you're criticizing them or reposting headlines that uses those phrases. Instead, talk about how DFLers are strong, fighting for working people, higher wages, and lower prices. Talk about how Republicans are corrupt, they abuse power, close hospitals, attack farmers, and slow the economy. Let's use the association to our advantage. Here's the truth. The most powerful messengers in this election aren't politicians or party chairs, certainly. They're you, the people on this call. A neighbor talking to a neighbor, a coworker sharing something real, a family member sending a text. So let's make it practical. When you're posting on social media, keep it personal and grounded. You don't need to write a press release. It's not about how lovely and flowing your eloquence will be. You should write like a normal human being. Instead of saying something robotic like, Republicans have failed to address the economic inequality, try, my neighbor works 2 jobs and still can't afford her insulin. That's the result of a policy choice Republicans keep making, and it's hurting us. See the difference? One is abstract, and one puts human beings at the center. Remember from Monday, we had a do, say, and don't say guidance within our message memo. You can go back and click on that. We'll ask the team to quickly drop it in the chat as well. You should say, working families deserve support to support their kids with a little breathing room. Not everyday people need relief. Yeah, that's true. Everyday people do need relief. But we're going to connect with people more if we say working families deserve to support their kids with a little breathing room. You should say, you're working harder than ever, but Republicans aren't holding up their end of the deal. We don't want to say the playing field needs to be leveled. That doesn't connect with people. We know you're working harder than ever, but Republicans aren't holding up their end of the deal. In fact, they're making it worse. The war choice in Iran is costing us more at the pumps every single day. You should say we need to bring down costs of living now. Be demanding and be a fighter. Not we should work to lower costs over time. People need us to be present now. We need a plan and a strategy to end this war in Iran so that we can bring gas prices back down. It's that simple. I can't afford gas to make it around the state as much as we do. It's ridiculous how expensive it's gotten. So we want to be active, specific, and human. That's the formula. Active, specific, and human. All right. Sometimes folks will try to change the subject. Republicans are masters at this. Maybe they bring up something they saw on Fox News, or maybe they bring up fraud or the border or anything other than the cost of living. Here's the move. Acknowledge and redirect. Don't be dismissive, but acknowledge their concern and then redirect them to the cost of living. Yes, I hear you, fraud. We need to take fraud seriously, and we are. There's a lot going on. But I keep coming back but what I keep coming back to is people around here are working as hard as they ever have, and they still can't get ahead. That's what this election really is about for me. Put it in personal terms. We don't have to win every argument, but we do have to stay on message and stay human so we can connect with people. As Antonia reminds us, the mere exposure to disinformation, even as you try to debunk it, plants seeds of doubt and eventually creates those false equivalents. That's the association we talked about earlier. So instead of being bogged down in a fight that turns established facts into just one side's opinion, in person or online, reframe and use association to make your positive case. So here's our call to action. It's a homework assignment for tomorrow. Here's what I want you to do ahead of tomorrow. Write one message that you actually want to send. You can send it to a family member, or you may want to send it to a coworker. It could be a social media caption, a text to a friend, sentence, or a sentence that you'd use at the door if you're talking to somebody. Take some time, write it out today, and remember it. I want you to drop it in the chat before we kick off the call tomorrow. So instead of showing up 10:45 sharp, I invite you. We'll start the call at 10:43. We'll have a scrolling list of group of pictures from folks doing events around the state, and we'll invite you to drop your sentence into the chat at 10:43 a.m. So that you can share your voice and hopefully inspire others on the call. Then we can take those messages and use them outside of the call tomorrow. You now have the message, the facts, and the framing, and the practical tools to have real conversations, online, in person, and everywhere in between. Remember, the promise of a good life, if you work hard, is broken. Most people know it. Most people feel it. And most people are in the same boat. Our job is to say it out loud, clearly, consistently, and with heart. All right, thanks, everybody. Happy Thursday. We have 229 days until the November 3rd midterm election. Let's go win this thing.